Okay, so hello everybody. When the teacher gave us this assignment, I started thinking to myself, what could I talk about for 10 minutes? It seemed like the longest time, and at first I thought I could talk about my favorite TV show or my favorite movie, but it just wasn't long enough. And then I came to the answer. Hello, my name is Manuel Castresana, and today I will talk to you about skateboarding. So, in order to understand skateboarding better, we first need to go back to its beginning and review a bit of its rich history in order to understand it better. So, skateboarding started in the 1950s in California, and nobody knows who made the first skateboard, but we do know that it was made by surfers. You see, surfers, all they wanted to do was surf all day. But in order to surf all day, you need good waves, you need good weather conditions, and you need, well, the sea. And sometimes it just was impossible to surf, and they were faced with this dilemma, like, how can we surf all day, every night? And the answer was, well, surf the concrete. So they grabbed a plank of wood, stuck some wheels on the bottom, and that's how the first skateboard was created. After that came the 1960s, and in the 1960s, they started mass producing skateboards. But there was a problem. Back then, skateboard wheels were made out of clay, and they were really bad. Like, they caused a lot of injuries, and a lot of people were getting injured, and that's when they started trying to ban skateboarding. And it almost dies, but right at the end, a new invention, some new type of wheel. It was bigger, better, and it gave you a smoother ride, and everybody went crazy for them. Then cut to the 1970s. And in the 1970s, there was a drought in California. There was no water, just like here in Monterrey nowadays. But since there was no water, people started emptying their pools. And that's where skaters took an advantage, and they started breaking into people's homes in order for them to skate the empty pools. Right there is when skating really started to gain popularity, and there started being like contests and tournaments, and that's where like the real skateboarders that everybody knows today, like Tony Hawk and Rodney Mullen, they were born right there in those tournaments. After that came the 80s, and in the 80s, it was a crazy time for skateboarding. A lot of tricks were starting to get invented, and like the skaters were getting famous. And yeah, then came the 1990s that were my favorite time for skateboarding, because this was all about street skateboarding, and this was like you could jump the highest stairs you can find, the highest gap in the street, and yeah. And also the 1990s is home to the what I think is the best moment in skateboarding history. This was when Tony Hawk did a 900 in 1996. A 900 is a really difficult trick. It's like a trick where you have to do two full body rotations and a half in midair. So it was a really difficult trick to do. And to give you some context, this was a trick that was tried for 12 years and nobody could do it. And even Tony Hawk broke like his rib trying to do it. And finally, after 12 years, he was able to land it and complete it. And yeah, after that, it was the 2000s, and skateboarding died down a little bit. People stopped caring a little bit. So yeah, and then skateboarding nowadays. Before I continue, I would like you to raise your hand if you have ever been on top of a skateboard. Yes? Okay. That's a lot more than I thought there would be. So say you're trying to get into skateboarding today. How could you start? Where do you start? That's the good thing about skating nowadays, that there are a lot of options. You can grab like a longboard that is for transportation. You can drive like normal skateboard, a penny board, and many more types of boards. Now, I told you the history, I told you like what can you skate, and now to the why. Why should you start skateboarding? And there are a lot of reasons for that. First of all, this is a healthy exercise, and you don't even realize you're exercising. It's like cheating your mind, you know. And another reason is it gives you great balance and posture because you're going really fast on a piece of wood, and yeah, like it gives you great balance. Another thing is it's relatively cheaper than other sports. Like in other sports, like biking, I don't know, you have to like really pay high prices for the components, and skateboards are kind of cheap, so it's a good sport to get into. And yeah, now before I leave you with a proposition. When you get to your house today, find that dusty old skateboard in the corner and give it a go. I'm sure you'll thank me later. Thank you very much.